Welcome back, friends. In this episode, we're back in Kings Canyon National Park. Well, not exactly. We're actually just passing through. The main reason for this trip is to volunteer at the Buck Rock Foundation Open House this Labor Day weekend, 2022. The first order of business is to find a place to disperse camp in the forest, since all the campgrounds are probably going to be full. As you will see later, that's not the only thing I had trouble finding. The California Conservation Corps is doing tree work along 14S02 in the Sequoia National Forest. I know there's been a lot of progress towards implementing a forest management system that will reduce the devastation from wildfires and improve the overall health of the forest. I'm looking for a place to camp tonight, but something caught my eye. And it's not a campsite. Let's see if I can get to it. I must have radar for these Mylar balloons. I found this spot a few years ago, and I've never camped here before. And it looks like it's taken. They plan on camping here, so I have to find something else. This isn't a bad spot, but I'm going to try and find better views closer to Buck Rock Lookout. It's late in the afternoon, so instead of looking for a new spot to camp, I'm going to see if a spot I found in the past is available. Plus, it will put me close to Buck Rock in the morning. I got so excited about the campsite that I had to change my pants. I wanted to rest before setting up camp, and I sat in sap.
Really fantastic.
Thank you.
Who do you have in there? A dog, a cat, or
No,
belongings, these things?
no, that's where I sleep. That lady came over a few minutes ago. She didn't know what that was on top of my Jeep. She thought it was something for my dog or cat to stay in. I was surprised to see a Tesla up here. It did okay though?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, this isn't a really tough road, so.
Yeah. Also, you flew back east to buy it and then you drove it back?
Exactly. Yeah.
Did you have any trouble finding charging stations or anything?
No. It shows up on the screen, so I just plot my route and it tells me where I need to stop on the way.
Sitting on this rock, overlooking this magnificent panorama, I felt like an ant traversing the great throne of God. I looked at Sid as he gazed out over the valley. There was a certain similarity between his posture and the surrounding rock, something irregular, yet firm. He looked like one of those ancient pines, like he'd been here all his life and was part of the landscape. This was clearly where he belonged, out here in nature.
After packing up camp, I had a short drive to Buck Rock and the start of our open house. My role was to answer questions and take pictures for social media. In between those duties, I was able to get a bird's eye view for some research that I've been working on. After the open house, I'm driving to Evans Grove and Camp 7 along 13S05, which can be seen from Buck Rock. It begins high above Hume Lake, which is just to the left of center in this view.
So the Giant Sequoia Emergency Response is a project that we're currently working on in the Sequoia National Forest in 11 groves, one grove over in Sierra National Forest. But the overall goal is to protect the giant sequoias in the event that wildfire does move through the groves. You know, we've lost over 20% of our giant sequoias and the monarchs to wildfires that have happened recently. So this project is the first phase of the project was to bring crews in, clear the way so they could actually make access to the groves here on both the Western Divide District and then over in the Hume Lake District. Once they were able to gain access, then the next phase is to pull vegetation away, remove duff from around the base within 6 feet of these giant sequoias and especially the monarchs, and then reducing the vegetation load within 25 feet of the giant sequoias. And again, the idea is when wildfire does occur, then it won't be nearly as damaging to the sequoias. Then the next phase is going to continue to protect and sustain the trees. And the idea behind that is now to start reintroducing fire into these groves with prescribed burning. We're also going to be burning, the plan is to burn the piles that have been created with the reduction of vegetation, the mechanical treatment that is currently going on. So we're several weeks into this project. The Chief of the U.S. Forest Service signed the Giant Sequoia Emergency Response on July 22nd, and since then there's been great progress made here on the Sequoia National Forest.
Made it! Woohoo! Brave and courageous!
The open house was a great success, and now I'm off to find Camp 7 and explore Evans Grove. I'm taking the most direct route from Buck Rock, which takes me to 13S05 by way of Tornado Meadow. Welcome back, friends. It's Sunday, September 3rd, 2022, and I'm in the Sequoia National Forest. I just finished helping out with the Buck Rock open house for Labor Day weekend. Right now, I'm on my way to try and find a place to disperse camp for tonight. I'm looking for an old logging camp that was referred to as Camp 7, and it's in the Evans Grove area. My research has directed me to that area because there may still be some artifacts left over from the logging days. I want to get up early in the morning and try and find some of those artifacts. So I would like to try and camp as close to that area that I can. And I was thinking, how cool would it be to camp where there used to be a logging camp? I've never been out this way before, so hopefully I can find it. I don't know how epic it's going to be, but maybe I'll find some artifacts. The problem with trying to find some of these places now is that there isn't any sign that they were even there. There have been so many fires through the area since the 1800s that anything that was left behind, which was primarily wood, has been burned up several times. The artifact that I'm looking for is what they refer to as a yarder. And apparently it was a piece of heavy equipment that would pull logs up the side of the mountain so that they could load them onto rail cars and then take them by rail to Hume Lake. And it's my understanding that the road leading to Evans Grove actually was the railroad at one time. Evans Grove can be reached by a seasonal dirt road and explored on foot using several overgrown dirt roads or cross-country. The trail that continues east through the old growth section of the Grove follows the rail bed route of the Hume-Bennett Logging Railroad that operated in the Grove between 1914 and 1918. The half-mile eastern extension of the rail bed beyond the end of the present road was cleared, but logging operations ceased before rail was laid. It's now a wide trail, giving visitors a feeling of remoteness despite the dirt road and historical impacts. I'm here at Camp 7, or at least where Camp 7 used to be. There isn't anything here now, and I wasn't expecting to see anything either. Unlike the ghost towns from the gold rush days, when a lumber mill packed up and left, they usually took all of their stuff with them. The chance of finding any telltale signs or artifacts are slim to none. But I'm still going to look anyway. Did find some old cans. I don't know how old they are. There aren't any markings left. It does look like they have an old style can opener though. I wonder if the loggers ate chicken and rice when they worked here. Good morning, everybody. It's Labor Day 2022. I'm going to have a quick cup of tea, and I'm going to take you along as I explore this spur trail. I was doing some reading last night. Let me show you what I found. This is where we are right now, Camp 7. The fallen sequoia from yesterday that was blocking the road is right here. The railroad line in front of me is this loop. I want to follow this loop and see if I can see any remains of this railroad hoist. Check this out. It looks like the loggers built a retaining wall to shore up the spur line. I've been trying to find old railroad tracks or railroad ties. This actually looks like a fence post. Oh, what is this? I'm gonna have to say, this is a railroad tie. With a bunch of ants on it. That really stung. There's another railroad tie, but I'm not gonna pick this one up. I'd really like to find some track, but I imagine metal back then was precious. So they probably pulled all that up and reused it somewhere else. Oh. As I've been walking along the spur line, I've wondered if the loggers appreciated working amongst the trees that they were cutting down, or if this was just a job to them. I've actually seen enough to satisfy my curiosity. We're almost to the point that I wanted to get to. It's where this spur line circles back around this mountain. Let's go. This is interesting. It's another old can. It's too rusted, I can't read what's on it. It is a newer style can though, because the edges are crimped, not soldered. But if you look at the way it was opened, it almost looks like the lid has a serrated edge. What's interesting about that is right there. Looks like there was a little pull tab with a band that went all the way around the can. I don't know what this is, but it makes a good turnaround point. It's either a railroad trellis or a hoist platform. I'm gonna go with a hoist platform. I decided to poke around Camp 7 a little bit more before I left. I found a couple of interesting things. Let's go have a look. I decided to have a look around the area where I found all the cans yesterday. And right here is a bush growing out of a can. And right here on the other side of this 2. I don't know what they are. It's got nails, round head nails. They could have been the platform or the stilts of one of the old logging cabins. I was driving out of Camp 7 on my way to another hike to look for a piece of logging equipment and got squirreled. I don't know if you can see it. It should be in the middle of the frame. It looks like a square metal ring, if you can call a square a ring. Let's climb up there and get a closer look. Does anybody have any idea what that could be? Because I found these also. Railroad spikes. I'm going to make reference to a piece of logging equipment as a yarding. I think the correct term is actually a yarder, but the two names have been used interchangeably in my research. I think yarding is probably the act of using a yarder. And now the moment you've all been waiting for. The whole reason I came to Camp 7 was to put me closer to a piece of old logging equipment called a yarding. I have no idea where it is exactly, and I only have faint clues as to its whereabouts. So I want to try and find it, and I'm going to take you along. And because it's hunting season, I'm sporting my visible orange panel. I have no idea what I'm walking on right now, but it's my understanding that they used to pull logs up the side of the hill from the grove using the yarding. Now, I don't think this is a railroad grade, but if the road I drove in on is where the tracks used to be, and it kind of makes sense that something like this was probably used to pull the logs up to the railroad tracks. This is what they were logging. The giant sequoias. The ones that are left here in Evans Grove are because they were too small during the logging days for them to bother with. I don't know what this is either, but it looks man-made, so I'm going to follow it. Maybe this was a railroad grade. Look what I just found. Looks like an old railroad tie. There's a hole on the end for the spike, and a groove for the track. But it doesn't look like a train's been through here in a very long time. No matter where I go in the national parks or the national forests, I always find mylar balloons. This one's been here for a while. I feel like I'm on the right track. I'm coming across a lot of stumps and a lot of fallen sequoias. Wish I could see where I was stepping. Trying to get to that meadow. I should have worn long pants. Looks like this one's been here for a while. Here's another one. They are easier to walk across than the swampy meadow. There's one target area in particular for the yarding that I'm trying to find. It should be down there. If it's not, I'm going to go back, do some more research, and try again another time. More stumps. Okay, now this is getting just plain weird. Another mylar balloon. I feel like I should be getting close. Look there. More cable. They tied a knot in that end. See that? Another cable. I must be close. Obviously, if a yarding is used to pull logs, it's gonna need a cable. There's more cable there. I wonder if I follow it, if it'll lead me to the yarding. Check it out, guys. This is so cool. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but there's indentations in the ground made from railroad ties. And down here, the railroad ties are still there. And it looks like they're spaced at their normal intervals. I really feel like the yarding should be around here somewhere. I must be getting close. If I don't find it, I'm gonna be really disappointed. So that grade that I've been following, the one that looks like a trench, Now follows raised mounds of dirt. I don't know what to do, you guys. I feel like I may have passed the yarding. I'm following the path laid down by the railroad. It's not hard, because when they laid tracks, they followed the contour lines. I think I'm just gonna press on and hope I come across the yarding, but I doubt it. I must have missed it somewhere. I'm gonna follow this contour line because it looks like it may open up to some great views of the canyon. And then, instead of backtracking, it looks like it gets less steep, so I can follow that ridge back to the road and take the road back to the Jeep. It doesn't look like I'm gonna find it, but I did find a view of the canyon. Instead of backtracking, I decided I would follow the ridge back to the road. I don't think you can see it in the video, but there's a rock outcropping just to the left of the tree with a fork in it. That's where I'm gonna go. And the road should be a hop, skip, and a jump on the other side of that. Status update. It's hot and I'm parched. I still have water left, but I'm saving it until I get to those rock outcroppings. I'm almost to the rock out. My mouth is so dry. I'm almost to the rock outcropping, and then I'm gonna drink some water. It's at this part of the hike that I realize I'm gonna live. And you'll never believe what I stumbled across. No, not the yarding, but more cable. A lot more cable. One would think that a large piece of logging equipment would be a lot easier to come across than cable laying on the ground. I had to stop for a short break. My legs are starting to cramp. I don't think it was because of the water or the heat. I think it was the rocks and all the downed trees I had to scramble over. But while I was sitting here, I realized that I was resting next to one of those troughs, or I don't know, I can't remember what they're called. The little trenches that they would pull the trees up to the railroad with or through. So, checking the map, I realized it follows a contour line. So, I'm gonna take that back to the road. Should be the easiest route. I'm almost to the road. I had to stop again. My groin was cramping, spasming really bad. At least the road will be easier to walk on. That's a sight for sore eyes. Well, I made it back to the Jeep. Can't say I'd want to do that again, but we all know that I will. I need to find that yarding.